Hello, counselors, licensed professional counselors, licensed clinical mental health counselors, counselors in various states, whatever your state designation is. I'm here to show you how to diversify your income stream, how to be able to reduce your clinical hours, and how to also make more impact by training other clinicians to be diversity informed counselors. Now, if you'll give me just the next 20 minutes or so of your time, I'll show you my approach to mastering the tenets of diversity informed clinical training, my approach to becoming approved as a continuing education trainer, and my approach to creating engaging trainings and events that create a movement of diversity informed counselors who are changing the world. Now, this is not for everybody. And this is probably not for you if you are totally content right now with your current income and don't need to increase your revenue. It's probably not for you if you're not interested in diversifying your revenue streams and expanding your impact beyond direct clinical care. It's probably not for you if you are comfortable with the level of impact you are making in the world. It's not for you if you don't see multicultural and diversity informed training as valuable and interesting. And it's probably not for you if you believe you already have the tools to be successful in expanding your impact and if you don't need any additional support or guidance. But if it is for you, you may have already tried or thought about providing individual coaching or supervision. But as an hourly service, it didn't give you any additional income or free time. Why? Because you replaced an hour of clinical time with an hour of coaching or supervision. As an hourly service, it didn't really do anything to expand your income, give you more free time, or expand your impact. You might have thought about launching a training course on your own, but you hit the wall perhaps when the marketing stuff came up. How do you market this? How do you build an audience? You may have thought about becoming a continuing education provider, but you had doubts about getting approved. Or you may have just tried other forms of income generation, but the income just wasn't consistent. Well, I'm Laverne Collins. I've been a licensed mental health professional for over 25 years. I've created and delivered hundreds of trainings on mental health and diversity topics over the course of my career. I now teach diversity counseling at the university level, and I write for professional trade magazines and textbooks and even digital encyclopedias on multicultural counseling and diversity responsive counseling. My company is New Seasons Counseling, Training, and Consulting, and it is an NBCC approved continuing education provider. Now, let me tell you, after sitting through too many boring CE trainings that didn't give me anything I could really use, I began creating vibrant, relevant, and engaging trainings for counselors on topics related to race, faith, culture, and trauma. And now I have created a program to help other counselors do that same thing using methods that have actually helped me to double my annual income. Sadly, unfortunately, great counselors are burning out from being overworked, being underpaid, taking on huge caseloads and high risk caseloads, and not having any time to really enjoy life. And you know what? That used to be me. I worked for agencies that paid me about a quarter of what I'm worth while I fought to survive the office politics and the systemic bias on behalf of myself and my clients. I left agency work and started in private practice, working long hours and using volume scheduling just to make ends meet. Despite my attempts at balance and self care, because I'm big on that, I was still stressed. I was still anxious. I was still burned out from high risk clients with chronic problems that were draining me. But that does not have to happen to you. You can diversify your income stream. You can give yourself the freedom to reduce your clinical hours and make more impact by training other clinicians to be diversity-informed counselors. Here's what I figured out. I figured out that with the right combination of content and timing, I could make more money hosting a one-day training than I made in 40 hours of clinical contact. Why? I figured out that a lot of veteran counselors and clinical supervisors alike don't feel adequately prepared for working with diverse populations. And that's simply because their multicultural courses in graduate school did not prepare them for current issues in diversity counseling. And we all know that right now, more than ever, there's a need for multicultural competence in our profession. I figured out that this is a time of unprecedented demand for counselor CE trainings and consulting on topics of multiculturalism and diversity, because individuals and agencies right now are seeking to be more culturally responsive. And then I figured out that I could provide the training they wanted and needed, whether it's in-person training or whether it's recorded or live, but virtual. And I could give back to my profession and my community. Here's what clinicians say about my diversity counseling trainings, and you have the potential to have them say the same kinds of things about your trainings too. One person said, I learned so many intervention ideas that I can use. I also enjoyed the group interactions and plan to utilize the skills that I've learned. The training was well organized and informative. Another person said, the workshop was phenomenal. You were an amazing presenter. They said they took notes. I took notes on your presence, articulation, and knowledge of presentation and engagement. You should consider a workshop on presentation etiquette and engagement. Another person said Laverne presented a wealth of resources and shared from her experiences. It was an excellent workshop experience. Here are a few more. Her sharing from the wealth of her experience and background was most useful. She clearly provided us with current and timely research on microaggressions. How about this one? The workshop was amazing and filled with lots of useful information. She delivered the material in a manner that kept my attention throughout the entire session. I look forward to signing up for additional workshops. Another person said, amazing job addressing all the points in her presentation. She allowed for open discussion and used evidence-based information to substantiate her information. She is amazing. Here's what some other clinicians said. I love your workshops. Your clear, professional content is so much more than just data transfer. I always leave with practical application tools and a desire to learn more. Thank you. This person said, thank God this was not another boring CE workshop. I really appreciated that it was informative, gave us different perspectives, and kept my attention. This person is apparently a repeat trainee. They said, excellent job as always. And then finally, this person said, as a late career white male, I am learning that I am woefully unprepared to work with clients or supervisees whose backgrounds, experiences, and ethnicity are different from mine. I had one course in cross-cultural psychology in undergraduate school in the early 80s, and no formal class on cultural differences and sensitivity in graduate school. Your trainings have been very helpful to bring me up to speed on some issues I was simply unaware of or underaware of. Now, I hear a lot of myths, and I need to bust those myths for you. The income and freedom you've dreamed about isn't possible in this profession. Let's start there. Myth, yes, it is. Another myth is that you need a doctoral degree to be a trainer. No, you don't need a PhD to be a trainer. I've heard people say that the only way to really make money as a counselor is to own an upscale private practice in the suburbs. Not true, not true at all. And finally, some people think it's almost impossible to get approval as a continuing education trainer. I'm here to tell you that's not true either. I have 5 power steps that help you breathe new life into your career Give yourself the option to reduce those clinical hours if you choose to and boost your income. 5 simple power steps help you to apply your passion for multicultural and diversity awareness and make more impact and income by developing a specialty in diversity and multicultural training in mental health. After all, you know what? You have worked too hard to spend your whole life struggling because you are overworked and underpaid. The power model. Let me start with P. You need to be able to produce engaging, diversity informed trainings and events that create a movement of culturally responsive counselors who are changing our world. O, for own the room with engaging and relevant multicultural training content. W, work with a proven process to become an approved continuing education trainer. E, expand your influence and your income by offering trainings that can pay you in a day what you currently make in a week. And the fifth step in the power model, if you choose, just reduce your clinical hours and make more money doing training than you can doing direct service. Here's the model. P, again, it's about producing engaging, diversity informed trainings and events that are going to create a movement of culturally responsive counselors who are changing our world for the better. Here's what you need to be able to do. You want to select a specific diversity training or consulting niche. You want to learn and deliver a range of diversity mental health considerations. So, different topics about diverse audiences. You want to understand the various standards and competencies already established for continuing education and diversity. And then you want to develop your first workshop, preferably using a proven approach and a format that's worked before for hundreds of people before you. Own the room, step 2 in the power model. Own the room with engaging and relevant training content. So here, just master how to be effective in communicating topics of multiculturalism. Think about what to say, what not to say, how to say it. And then be sure that you're confident in your ability to talk about different types of diversity, whether it be race, ethnicity, gender, sexual preferences and identities, gender expression, age, religious and spiritual communities, ability status, military communities, immigrant and refugee status, socioeconomic status. And how about polyamory, kink, and taboo cultures? How about gamer culture and fandoms? You want to be able to choose your niche and be able to speak confidently about your diversity topics, whatever they may be. Number 3, you want to work toward getting your continuing education provider applications approved. The first thing you have to do is simply prepare for the applications, then know how to present your qualifications and your expertise. If it's possible, take a shortcut to continuing education approval so it doesn't take as long by following a format that's been used for successful approval many times over already. And then prepare to submit speaking proposals for conferences. 4 in the power steps. E, expand your influence and your income. Begin to establish yourself as a respected resource person in your diversity niche. And then 2, provide diversity consultations inside and outside our profession. Prepare yourself for that so you can actually get premium rates for doing that. And the 5th step in our power model, R, simply about reducing your clinical hours if you choose to. You can give yourself the option to replace the grueling clinical service hours with some more fun clinical training hours, or just add to your existing clinical income. Now that's power. So now you have a choice. You can go it alone. I've given you the 5 points in the power model. Go for it. The advantage is that it's free. You won't have to invest a dime. The only cost is time and energy. But the disadvantage is to going it alone, of course, or you're going to do your own research and months of trial and error with the approval process and things like that. Of course, you've got the risk of making some critical mistakes that set you back. And there's always the risk also of giving up along the way when you hit a stumbling block because you don't have the accountability and the guidance to help you make changes. That's option one. You can go it alone. Option two is you can allow me to work with you. You can put my expertise to work for you. You can join the Powertrain program and get a step-by-step process for your success. You'll receive ongoing support, weekly coaching calls, and a community of others to help with your success and your accountability. Working with me to build your dream will save you some time and some energy. It will also ensure that you get it right the first time and shortening the time for you to launch this new revenue stream. So I've set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak with you about using your multicultural and diversity passion to literally transform your revenue and your life and many other lives as well as a trainer. This week, I'm going to admit 3 new power trainees into my confidential group so you can diversify your income streams, give yourself the freedom to reduce those clinical hours if you want to, and so you can make more impact by training other clinicians to be diversity informed counselors. To qualify to join, you need to be a fully licensed professional counselor in your state, whatever that fully licensed designation is for working independently. You need to be motivated to work towards changing the monocultural approach to counseling to a truly multicultural approach to counseling. What I mean by that is you got to be committed and motivated towards stepping aside from the one size fits all cultures models of counseling and be coachable and willing to invest in learning. And lastly, you just need to be ready to improve your own quality of life. So I invite you to use the information below this video to contact me now, and I look forward to hearing from you.